Welcome to History by the Plate. Having taught history at a Tier 1 university for 8 years, one of the things I would venture to say is it's probably more realistic to think that most university students are better at knowing how to roll a joint than they are in how to make a good, nutritious meal. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can get our kids involved in the kitchen from a very young age and teach them the joys of good meal preparation. Now, you can do this by having them help as you build a meal, or another way to do it is to put them in charge of making a major ingredient that you're going to use throughout the week. Today we're going to look at how we can do that. How we can do that with one ingredient I think most of us use, and that's butter. How to make good homemade butter, very easy, something we can get the kids involved with at home on History by the Plate. Okay, to get ready, what I've done is poured in about a quart of fresh, heavy whipping cream. Not just whipping cream, but heavy whipping cream. I've set up also about a teaspoon of salt, and I've diced up some chives because we can infuse the butter with different herbs, and a good chive butter is oh so tasty on top of a steak. I've also set up the food processor with the metal blade. Now be very, very careful with this because the thing is very, very sharp. But what we're going to do then is I've let this come almost to room temperature, and we're going to just pour the cream in. And this is a quart, as I mentioned. A quart of cream will yield about a full pound of butter. And it also yields a nice amount of buttermilk. Never throw out the buttermilk, always save it. You can use it for so many things. It makes pancakes that are so nice and fluffy. But you can also use the buttermilk, and this is my dog, Sassy, who's getting out of the way. But you can also use the buttermilk as an excellent brine for fried chicken. As a matter of fact, it's my favorite brine for fried chicken. So we've got the cream in there, and what we're going to do is to then make sure it's off, put the plunger in, and then I'm going to process it, and I'm going to process it for about 5 or so minutes until the solids, the butter solids, start to separate from the cream. And that's one of those things, different people will say, well, it takes 10 minutes, it takes 5 minutes, it takes 7 minutes. It's really, really iffy on how long it takes. Don't go by time, go by how it looks, because it depends to a great degree on the grade of cream that you were able to buy, and also on the temperature of the cream. So we're just going to start processing that now, and it'll take a few minutes, and then we'll come back to it and take a look at it when we're ready to stop. Okay, we're about 4 minutes into the process here, and it's just starting to turn into butter. You want to make sure that you have a food processor that's strong enough to be able to last this long, working some pretty hard work. Okay, we're about 7 minutes in now, and here we have actual butter. This is looking good. Let me get this off here so I can show you a bit better. But you have the solids, the butter solids, and then you have the liquids here, and that's the buttermilk. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour that buttermilk off into one of these beautiful bowls that my lovely wife made. And like I said, we're going to save that. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rinse this butter under cold water, and that'll help to get it to set up a bit. So coming over to the sink, get the water going, rinse it off, and then pour that off a bit. You can use your hand just to keep the solids in. I'm going to rinse that again. And again, this is in Atlanta, so the water coming out of the faucet
in late summer is not necessarily as cold as I would like, but it's still enough. It works. And again, I have my dog helping me. Should always have your children help you in the kitchen. So, this is what we have. Now I'm going to add chives. Fresh chives from the garden. And I'm going to process this very briefly again. So I'm going to put that on, lock it in, get the blade back down in there. Now this can be really messy if it's not done properly, so make sure that everything is on. And then I'm going to process this again just briefly. And that's probably enough. Now, oh yeah, that looks perfect. That looks perfect. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this then. I'm going to pull the blade out. Oh, this is wonderful. This is the good love. This is the good stuff. And I'm going to rinse this again in cold water. Or by Atlanta standards, cold water. Now, what I'm going to do to get more of the liquids out is I'm going to come over here and hopefully I can move this so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to pour this out then onto some cheesecloth. I'm going to get my spatula here so we can get all of this out. And doesn't this look good? There. So we've got that all out. I'm going to put that over there, and I'm going to take it with the cheesecloth like that, and then move it over to the sink where I'm going to squeeze it out to get even more of the liquid out and have more of what we would think of as what looks like, feels like, has the consistency of butter. Okay, perfect. So we've squoze that out. Squoze is a word. And we're just going to turn that into the plate so you can see the finished product here. A nice pound of beautiful chive butter. And again, I love those plates. My wife made those. They always make me smile. So, something we can do with the kids to have a blast in the kitchen. You can see how one of your children could take this on as their task to make butter for the family for the week. It's fun. It tastes so much better than what you buy in the store. And again, it's one of those things that can build the kids up. I mean, there's so much that tears down our kids these days, but having a track record, building a success ladder is so important for kids. And this is one way to do it. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this. This is History by the Plate.